Minnesota Vikings fans, I have been sitting here staring at the latest reports, and honestly, it feels like our patience is being pushed to the absolute limit. Something just developed regarding one of our top offensive weapons that could shake up the entire direction of this franchise. It is a tough spot because we all know the raw talent on display, but the off-the-field issues are becoming impossible to ignore. The more details emerge, the harder it is to look away from what is happening behind the scenes. Smash that like button, subscribe, and comment your city. Let us dive in. The Minnesota Vikings are facing a major dilemma regarding wide receiver Jordan Addison following his latest legal setback. Addison entered the team in 2023 as a highly polished prospect and quickly became a central piece of our passing attack, racking up nearly 2,400 receiving yards and 22 touchdowns over 46 games. We have watched him grow from a standout rookie into a dynamic playmaker, which makes his off-field behavior incredibly difficult to reconcile with his undeniable talent on the field. The truth is, his recent history is now defined by a recurring pattern of poor judgment. On January 12th, Addison was arrested in Tampa on a misdemeanor trespassing charge at the Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino after allegedly refusing to leave a restricted area. This arrest marks his third run-in with the law since arriving in Minnesota, following a dangerous 140 mph speeding citation in 2023 and a 2024 DUI arrest that resulted in a 3-game suspension. As Minnesota Vikings fans, this news feels like a slap in the face because we invested so much faith in his potential to be a franchise cornerstone alongside our other stars. The frustration within the fan base is palpable because the volatility of his personal life is now starting to overshadow his electric production. We see a young man who clearly has the skills to thrive in this league, but these repeated incidents have sparked serious trade rumors involving teams like the Baltimore Ravens. The bottom line here is that his reckless behavior is forcing general manager Nolan Teasley and head coach Kevin O'Connell to decide if his talent is still worth the liability. Skol. We are left wondering if his time in purple is coming to a premature end because trust is a hard thing to regain once it has been broken so many times. And I will be straight with you, this situation with Jordan Addison feels like a slow-motion car crash that we simply cannot look away from. It all boils down to a recurring pattern of poor decision-making that has completely eroded the trust between the player and our organization. When you look at the raw numbers, he has logged 2,396 receiving yards and 22 total touchdowns across 46 career games. But his availability has become a major liability. Missing 3 games due to a 2025 suspension following his July 2024 arrest for a DUI near LAX is the exact kind of headache that Kevin O'Connell and Nolan Teasley were hoping to avoid after his initial 140 miles per hour speeding ticket during his rookie season. Historical parallels are tough as we have seen talented receivers in this league flame out due to off-field antics, and unfortunately, Addison is starting to mirror those cautionary tales. Behind closed doors, the front office is likely having incredibly difficult conversations about whether his undeniable talent is worth the constant distraction he brings to the locker room. They have invested heavily in his development, yet his latest trespassing arrest in Tampa suggests he has not learned from his prior run-ins with the law. The bottom line here is that professional sports teams prize reliability above almost everything else, and right now, Addison is failing that test. If the Vikings decide to move on, it is because they have reached a breaking point where the character concerns now definitively outweigh the on-field production. As Minnesota Vikings fans, we want winners who represent the shield with pride, and it is becoming increasingly difficult to argue that Addison is still that guy for this team heading into the next chapter of our rebuild. Skol! The truth is, this situation is turning into a massive headache for the front office because Jordan Addison is becoming a liability we can no longer ignore. As Minnesota Vikings fans, we know the stakes involve more than just his stat sheet. We are talking about a locker room culture that head coach Kevin O'Connell and general manager Nolan Teasley are trying to protect from constant off-field distractions. If we trade Addison, our depth chart takes an immediate hit, leaving us with a significant void at the WR2 spot that would force the front office to scramble for cheaper veteran options or draft capital to maintain our offensive explosive potential. While his rookie contract was a bargain, clearing his spot could free up some cap space, but losing his ability to stretch the field changes how opposing defensive coordinators prepare for us. Without his presence, our upcoming high-stakes divisional matchups against the Bears and Lions become significantly more difficult, as teams can shift their entire secondary focus toward containing our primary receivers. We are essentially staring down the barrel of a roster reconstruction that could define our playoff viability for years. If we move on from Addison now, our margin for error in the NFC North shrinks drastically, making every single game feel like a must-win just to stay relevant in a tightening division race. This move could ultimately decide whether we remain legitimate contenders or fall into a rebuilding phase just as our window should be opening wide. It is a calculated gamble that keeps every one of us on edge as we look toward the draft and free agency. We need stability to reach the postseason, and right now, this recurring drama with Addison is the biggest hurdle standing between this team and the championship dreams we all share. Skol. The bottom line here is that trading Jordan Addison to the Baltimore Ravens could finally provide our offense the clean slate it needs, while netting us a valuable third-round pick for a player who has become a major distraction. From a purely football perspective, the upside is massive because we clear the roster of a player whose availability has become a recurring nightmare for Kevin O'Connell and GM Nolan Teasley. We avoid a messy contract extension for someone who cannot stay out of the headlines, allowing us to pivot toward more reliable talent in the upcoming draft. However, the massive risk is that we are essentially selling low on an elite talent who has proven he can produce at a high level when he is actually on the field. If Addison realizes his potential elsewhere, we will look back at this as a colossal failure that gutted our receiving depth for a mid-round flyer. Analysts around the league, including those at Vikings Wire, suggest that teams like the Chiefs or Bills could also join the bidding war, proving that despite his 3 arrests, his speed and route running remain highly coveted assets that could help any championship contender win now. The way I see it, this move is inevitable because we simply cannot build a winning culture in Minnesota while constantly fielding questions about our receivers' conduct off the field instead of their performance on it. It is exhausting as fans to see our reputation tarnished by these repeated, preventable incidents in Tampa, Los Angeles, and back here at home. If we want this team to return to its winning ways under Coach O'Connell, we must prioritize discipline and availability over raw skill. It hurts to lose such a playmaker, but sometimes a divorce is the only way to move forward and protect the integrity of the locker room. Skol. The bottom line here is that the Jordan Addison situation forces a massive fork in the road for the direction of this franchise under GM Nolan Teasley and head coach Kevin O'Connell. We have seen consistent play on the field, but this latest incident suggests a pattern of behavior that could jeopardize the culture we are trying to build. If we keep him, we risk instability, but trading him for a third-round pick means parting ways with a proven weapon who still has immense potential. As Minnesota Vikings fans, we should feel conflicted and rightfully cautious heading into this upcoming season. It is tough to trust a player who has now had 3 major run-ins with the law in such a short window, and while his talent is undeniable, availability remains the best ability for any athlete in the NFL. We need to decide if his production warrants the constant distractions or if it is finally time to reset the roster with reliable leaders who can help us win championships. Trusting a young man to grow is one thing, but expecting change after multiple warnings is a gamble that might be too risky for our Super Bowl aspirations. I am genuinely curious where you stand on this polarizing decision. Do you believe the front office should trade Addison to move on from the headache or hold on to him and hope he matures into a professional leader for this team? Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. If you enjoyed the video, do not forget to like it and subscribe to the channel. Skol! I will see you in the next one. But before you head out, make sure to hit that bell icon so you never miss another deep dive into your favorite Minnesota Vikings football updates.